Alrighty. Thank you all who have stayed. Things are gonna get juicy. Second round, Poetic Glory builds. Okay, on deck is Philip. Please welcome Miranda back to the stage.
I am jealous of the poets who write poems about their mother's hands. I do not remember my mother's hands, I remember crimson. And never knowing if the bloodshot eyes and puffy cheeks were from too many years spent crying, or too much time spent trying to kill the pain. I do not remember my mother's hands. You see, my mother was an artist. She perfected the art of folding in upon herself, and I remember her shoulders and how they always seemed to have too much gravity pressing against them. I remember 1,000 shades of sorry. Her drunken arms wrapping around me, pushing me in, pulling me away. I remember thinking, this is what love must sound like underwater. I do not remember my mother's hands. I remember empty. I do not remember my mother's hands. I remember hunger. You see, my mother was an artist who perfected the art of leaving, but she left her bones behind. And I cannot keep holding her up, and she left her skin behind, and I cannot keep wrapping her up, and she left her daughter behind. To pick up her pieces again and again, but my back aches from stooping over and over, and I am jealous of the poets who write poems about their mother's hands. I do not remember my mother's hands. I remember explosions and trying to find the light in eyes that were always sinking. I remember fire and watching her build our matchstick houses too close to the flame, thinking, how can she not know why everything around us burns? I remember kamikaze and watching her poke holes in our patchwork parachutes, trying to teach herself to fly. I remember thinking, how can anyone learn to be so comfortable with crashing down? You see, my mother was an artist, and she perfected the art of running away. And each day, I crawl from her footsteps and try and teach myself to stay, but everyone is always leaving. I have never been a destination, just a stop along the way.
Miranda Willette, thank you. I never get over those boots. All right, scores for Miranda to kick off the second round. 1, 2, 3, up and at me, please. Got a 7.0. An 8.8, another 8.8, an 8.9, and a 9.3 for Miranda. 26.5, and for those of you playing at home, both rounds count as a synthesis of scores. All right, on deck is Hannah. Please welcome Philip back to the stage. Woo!
Clock in. It's how most people earn their pay, and how many learn the way to keep ahead above the ever-rising tide of debt. Clock out, go home, and get high, or do some other thing to dull the senses to the feeling of feeling farther behind. working longer and harder to hold shrinking nickels and dimes, hoping to afford the rising price of a smaller slice of America's pie. Words and a mic aren't money, but offer the poor man means and a medium without the reach, grip, or need to sell a lie like the media. Streaming scare tactic edits to weaponize their words and cultivate support. Cutting clips of bombings and rhetoric to confuse and distort. 10-second sound bites of psychological civil warfare. It's like either people don't know or they just don't care that we never received the call to arms. We were learning to turn the other cheek and preaching to do no harm while purchasing guns, knives, home defense, and alarms. Clock in. And earn a living without really living. Making a habit of missing the present by looking past it. There is no forgiving time wasted living and longing for the end of each day. Because on that final day, when the sun is setting and the whistle blows, everybody clocks out. The management frowns on overtime anyhow, and we don't need anything where we go anyhow, so please leave your final pay on the way out the door wondering where did all that time and money go. Never question when or why it became okay to work, stand, think, or live in line. Minutes, days, months, and lives wasted surviving in consumer trenches. Capitalism's casualties live stalking our street corners, bridges, and bus stop benches. They carry signs that claim giving shall secure God's blessing, while I somberly bear witness to those barely living. They pushed piecemealed lives in shopping carts, each with a story of how the sky came down and the world fell apart. Everlasting relaxation may be our reward up there in the clouds. But I'm riddled with an everlasting vexation down here near the ground because I can't afford to allow such beliefs to work like a drug on my mind, relaxing my grip on the rope as I climb. Maybe I've lost my nerve or gotten too old to enjoy the risk, but I fear falling to the bottom at the first hint of my fingers slip. Stop the clock and turn back the hands, and feel the burden of a teenage boy who ran from home, owned nothing but a backpack, a broken cycle, hateful tears, and a trembling lip, owns the fear of a life like his father, the alcoholic who stumbled and slipped through time and out of his home, possessed nothing but a duffel bag, a stolen bicycle, wasted years, and a busted hip. A father not known for his good habits. When it came to life, he never reached past the 40-ounce bottle to grab it. He may never have chosen to clock in for the responsibilities that life had in store for him, but after 51 years, his ticker gave up its last talk. Pneumonia and malnutrition, no warning and no more time on the clock to make amends for two men. The clock strikes, but I no longer feel its glancing blows. Some say that time heals all wounds, but sometimes it leaves a nerve exposed.
All right. Thank you, Philip. Guys are getting thought-provoking this hour of the night. I suppose that's the point. The point is not the point, the point is the poetry. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, up and at me, please. Scores for this heartfelt hard work. 7.7. 8.0. 8.2. 8.4. And a 9.0 for Philip. All right. Way to have recalibrated, judges. I'm feeling good about y'all.
After 2.21 time penalties,
22.39 after a time penalty. Okay. Always listen to the scorekeeper. Okay, 3 poets. 3 poets left. This whole season comes to a crescendo. On deck is Jeff. Please welcome Hannah back to the stage.
In unloving memory, I remember you. November afternoons, the sky would be weighty and gray, like sheets of slate threatening to crumble. I remember in early autumn, heard your sharp knuckles rap hollow on my plywood door. A clunk loomed in the caverns of my ears, a sound so unfamiliar. My blood circled backwards through my empty chest, and so I opened wide. Afternoons, slumped listless on some beaten sofa, the wood beam gnawed at my ribs. I was cold enough to need you, a warm body next to me. Our backs locked, spine to spine, the vertebrae gnashed and scraped like molars in an addict's mouth, eroded from compulsive grind. We lay together for lack of better company, shared a heartbeat for 8 sagging months, the worst of my life. In unloving memory, oh, I remember you. I built a cult shrine to your whitened smile, your voice of honey venom. I choked it down, and when it melted with my blood, my heart sputtered, black soot, dredge exhaust. Your vile words coated my hippocampus. I was huddled too drunk in your warmth to cough you back up. Instead, I begged you, baby, please poison me. Bleach the color out of my soul. I deceived myself. Called this a spring cleaning for the scum of a decade lodged in my cerebellum. The quick fix to swallow Drano beat the wire toothbrush alternative to scrub it raw. I wished your body would stay locked in mine, wished as our shared heart strained to keep some drumbeat deep and low beginning to fade. I could not last the winter with your relentless hammering at my soft spots. I wished your throat would strain from overuse, that I could live without your voice between my ears. I took a risk in taking you out of my life. I took a risk that I would know myself without you. You villain that dangled from a skyscraper's lip, you are my answer for the sake of being lonely. But the paradox with answers is they cause us to question the person staring back at us. If there's one thing a mirror is good for, it's to show you who you aren't. I would never be you. I took a risk that I would know myself without you. And so I let you drop. Because clinging is for weak things. Strong people appreciate a good fall.
I'm so glad other people feel things as much as I do. That's one of my big takeaways. Part of why I do this. They feel so much. Thank God. Normalization. All right. Scores for Hannah. 1, 2, 3, up and at me, please. Scores for Hannah. I've got an 8.6, a 9.2, a 9.6, a 9.6, and a 9.7. Let her hear it. 28.4. Ooh, once again, we're playing with both rounds. We've got 2 poets left. On deck is Jesse. Please welcome Jeff back to the stage.
Here's the thing. I know I'm not special. Guys like me are a dime a dozen. You can find us first in line at the flower shop on Valentine's Day and number 2 on a pretty girl's speed dial, right behind her boyfriend. I know I'm not special, but that doesn't mean I don't want someone to make me feel special. I want a woman who laughs at my good jokes and introduces the bad ones to the backhand of her sass. She'll never bother with blank slate templates like, how are you and how's it going? Instead, she'll explore the crevices of my nature, chopping through the sticker bush self-defense mechanisms that have developed over the years as others have traveled the path to my heart only to catch a glimpse of the summit and turn the other direction. She'll push me farther than anyone ever has. Farther than I can push myself. When she hugs me, she'll swallow me up like a sunken sailboat out at sea, drowning the breath out of my lungs and hurt out of my heart. She'll kiss me as if she were the great Pacific and I were the shoreline she hadn't seen since the sun went down. And try as I might, she'll never send me a naked picture because she knows her body is a mountain, stunning from afar, but meant for so much more than a photo. She'll be my best friend, favorite book, and most distinguished professor. I want a woman who thinks in a frenzy of 95-mile-an-hour winds, speaks with the conviction of a lightning rod, and laughs with the raucous thunder. And there I want to stand, in the heart of this perfect storm, enduring everything she has to give, all the chaos we call crazy and she calls life, waiting for the break in the clouds where I can look up into her eye and tell her, baby doll, I'm not going anywhere. You're my Katrina and I'm your Superdome. Do what you will to test me, but I'll weather the storm and find meaning of surviving remnants. She'll be the reason I pick up the Bible, because nothing short of divine intervention could explain how a human being could fall from the sky and keep a halo intact. I want to study her history and learn how she suffered the Great Depressions and famines of love, how she's ruled her kingdom with an iron fist, compassionate heart, and exiled to the wastelands anyone has offered less than what she deserves. And when I'm with her, I'll savor those moments like the fading sunset on the last night of an Alaskan winter solstice. I'll have a smile on my face that can't be measured by any length of time. It'll continue on, gaining more and more momentum every day until it has a headfirst collision with my tombstone, which will read, "Here lays Jeff." The world tried, but not even death could slap that goofy grin off his face. And when I meet this woman, I'll say one of two things. One, and probably more likely, or two, hi, my name is Jeff, and I'm nothing special, but you are.
I've often thought that poor poets could make a good living writing personals. Should we start that company? Okay, side note. All right, scores for Jeff in the second round. 1, 2, 3, up and at me, please. Uno más. Okay, look out, people. I got a 9.3, a 9.4, a 9.6, and 2 9.8, and another 9.8. Let him hear it. 28.8. Okay. Here we go. Last poet of the last round of the last slam in our 2012-2013 season. Please welcome Jesse back to the stage.
Sometimes I find myself asking, do I miss you? Really? Or is missing you just a misused misnomer, missing the meaning of what it feels like to have finally lost you? Because, yeah, I do know I should be relieved. But after 9 months, kid, I think it's safe to say that the safety is off and this all-purpose stun gun is locked, cocked, and ready, bouncing off my bruised ribs, ripping through my locked lips. Kid, of course I fucking miss you. Like, Jesus missed Judas. And Judas missed justice just in time, misses the moment before I had to wake up every morning with this hangover gone postal from bashing my head against the wall asking, are you going to fucking call today? Like you promised me the moon and the stars and the bar in LA that was going to be ours, and our last words were rattled out like a funeral dirge, so why can't I bury you? Because, honey, living without you is all the fun of mourning without any of the benefits. There are no sincere condolences because, let's be honest, no one's gonna let me get away with murder just because you married someone else. And all my friends are getting real tired of this spiel, and I know that stalking your wife's Facebook photos isn't helping me heal any faster, but damn it, kid! I miss you. Like brass knuckles miss steel pipes. And Monday morning misses Friday nights. And city lights miss taillights driving back towards the place that I used to call home before I met you. And you turned home into that place between your jacket and your chest. And the way that you always smiled best just after 8 when you could convince yourself that the day was done and that you had somehow ostensibly won the battle against your apathy. But let me be clear. I don't want to fuck you. I don't want to love you. Honey, truth be told, I don't really even like you anymore. I just don't want to miss you any more than I already have to. Because like it or not, kid, we're connected. And as much as I would love to squeegee you out of my mind, eternal sunshine style, I will continue to wait by the phone for you to call, if only to remind you that disconnecting is no longer an option, motherfucker. Please hold.
You guys say good things from my heart, please. Thank you. All right, scores for the last voter, last round, last voter, 13.23, up and at me, please. Okay, sorry, that was too much for you guys. 1, 2, 3. Scores for Jesse. All right, I've got an 8.3, an 8.9, a 9.0, a 9.4, and a 9.6. Let her hear it. 27.3. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Oh my God, this is so close. These scores are close. But here we go. In third place, get back with that drum roll, people. Please give a warm round of congratulations in third place to Miranda. All right, and in second place, Hannah! exciting thing that has to happen before the night is over. Our artist in residence is going to show you what he's been working on. Is that true, Lester? Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
My last piece was not my own story, and it was a story that I wanted to tell because people don't hear it enough, but it's not a story that I feel comfortable competing with, and so I want to give my placement to the person that was behind me.
Are you sure about that? Really? Okay.
It was still great.
All right. Hey, Jesse, come on up here and be our hands-off community winner.
I just really want to say that I respect the crap out of you, Miranda, and that thank you a lot, and you're gorgeous.
Y'all were within like 0.25, like it was very, very close. That's very, look at so much love. I truly do love you all. In the, the big way, not the biblical, or maybe in the biblical way, like love everyone way. So I think that is biblical. So I think that's weird that we use that incorrectly. I love you all very much for being here. Look at this amazing art. Look at Miranda. This is Miranda in the dress and in the boots. Look how perfectly this works out. Just giving up the prize and getting the brains. It's a beautiful world, people. I have some thank yous to say. Thank you so much to our artist Lester. Go see his show next month. Thank you, Lillian. Big thank yous to Roxy and Brad for being for team tonight. We needed them so much. Thank you to the bookstore staff. You guys are absolutely wonderful, taking care of us all night. Thank you to our videographer, Josh. Thank you to everyone who competed here tonight. Thank you so much, judges. When you're done with your scorecards, please bring them up here. Thank you to Galen for fixing the scorecards. And thank you, audience. Thank you, David Doc Lubin, our fantastic teacher. I love you guys.